All right, boys, we are here with Brownie again to talk some fantasy football. And it is the best week of fantasy football for some people. It is Championship Sunday. I'm an absolutely zero championship, so I absolutely don't like today. But I'm happy for the people out there that are going to win some money, win some leagues, and get some bragging rights. But we have an interesting matchup here in the Sunday Funday League. I think we kind of expected Mac and Corey to kind of get here, but they actually pulled it off. And we had Bash Bros, the best team overall in our league history. Um, made it to the finals. I believe they made it to the finals in year one as well and lost against Alexis. So they're back here for redemption. Made the finals two out of the last three seasons. So
Sheesh.
it's kind of crazy. I'm happy to see Bash Bros here though. Their team is definitely. I know me and you have obviously talked about it. I even think like here in some of these videos, this is the season they really got to do it. Their team
Yeah.
is getting old, and things are not trending in the correct direction for them. So happy to see that they're here in the finals and going to be doing it. But what me and Austin really want to do was kind of break down to see what happened this season. How did you all get here to make this happen, essentially? So we're gonna go into the rookie draft and see what essentially happened. Me and Austin broke this down a little bit earlier, and some of you are going to be surprised at the dominance that is going to be displayed here by Team Mac and Corey. It is insane the amount of people they got and the amount of people they hit on. So let's jump into it. So we're going to start off with, let's start off actually with, yeah, let's just start off with Mac. Let's do it. So Mac, the worst team in the league last season just because of injuries. He was the team IR. So he ended up getting the first pick overall. And, obviously everyone knows who's the first pick, but I do have a question, honestly, Austin. Would you still go Bijan 101 today?
I think it so 2 years back I went Brees Hall 101. Um wow, this is tough, Miro.
It is tough. Wait, but
So
who's in your mind right now competing for this 101? I feel like for me, it's really two names.
I mean if you go back, if you can take all the information you have now and you go back, I mean
Yeah,
it
yeah,
has
yeah.
to
That's what we're
be
doing. We're
yeah,
redrafting
it
today.
has to be Houston. It has to be
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud. It has to be. Um and then minus the injury, I think it has to be um why am I
Anthony,
blanking on these
I don't
guys right
know.
now?
I don't know, dude. You're bugging me out, but it's Anthony Richardson.
Richardson. Yeah, it has to be the two quarterbacks.
Hey,
Um,
good. That's my exact feelings as well.
but
Honestly.
but like so running backs are the key to winning a championship. Like they are. So let's say you are someone who ends up with the 101, who knows how, but you end up with the 101 and you have a year like Brees Hall, you have a year like Bijan Robinson where these guys are coming out and they're generational prospects, right? If you already have a wide receiver base and foundational quarterbacks and you somehow end up in the 101, the 102 and you can find yourself getting one of these top running backs, I feel like you still do it. I really do. But if you are someone who is at the bottom because you're supposed to be at the bottom because you don't have generational like you don't have
Yeah.
sustainable steady quarterbacks, you don't have generational wide receivers, then yes, you have to pick CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. So who are his quarterbacks? Who
So I
are
guess this is kind of a two-piecer because he just traded for Patrick Mahomes like maybe 2 weeks before the draft, I believe it was. Like it was
So maybe
relatively
that was his
recent.
strategy. Maybe he was like, yo,
Oh,
Bijan is this generational dude. If I
that's
can
what he
secure
wanted.
quarterbacks
Uh,
before the season,
And
then
he
I'm gonna go
and
Bijan.
he had Lamar Jackson already, which is obviously Lamar Jackson's always in that conversation. He traded away. Yeah, well, let's look at the trade right here. Look at this. So he got Patrick Mahomes. He traded away Aaron Rodgers, the 105, which became Anthony Richardson, I believe. A 24 first, 24 second, 25 first, a 23rd 208, and a 23rd 309. So a lot of draft picks for Patrick Mahomes, who has not really been doing the best this season. So you kind of look at this and you're just like, okay, this kind of like makes sense, but it's Patrick Mahomes, you can't
I mean,
really
this is
kind of
why this is exactly why you always hear offers.
yep.
You just say you never say so and so is not on the trade block. If someone approaches you and says, you know, what would it take for Patrick Mahomes? All you say is make me an offer. I'll hear an offer because in my opinion, him receiving Patrick Mahomes was the right move. But receiving all of that capital and no, no one could have predicted Aaron Rodgers is going to tear his Achilles tendon week 1. All
For
right.
sure.
In my opinion, that is a very fair trade for supposedly the most consistent best quarterback in
In league
dynasty and
history.
in the NFL.
In league history, the
In
best
league history.
quarterback.
So
Yeah.
we've seen that the God can bleed, right? We've seen that
Mhm.
Patrick Mahomes can, not play to his best, and maybe he's getting a little frustrated and he's trying to force the ball in places and throwing some picks. I think the trade both ways was great.
Yeah.
Obviously, he needed to not needed to, but it benefits him greatly to pair Lamar Jackson with Patrick Mahomes. He's going to have a two quarterback staple for endless amounts of years when it comes to dynasty.
Yeah.
So he didn't make a wrong move. But on the other hand, a lot of assets were moved for this, and good for the other guy.
Good for yeah. Samala, I saw Samala 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about trades, and Samala's doing it. Samala does it right. I feel like a lot of people always want the big play, but Samala is super content with getting the proper value or things that he feels is proper value, and he just goes for it. And
I
I feel like most of the time
if
it works
Aaron
out.
Rodgers doesn't get injured, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get injured like that, I think he got over Patrick Mahomes' value.
It's really going to depend on really what happens with Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't like assert himself as a consistent top three quarterback, like even right now in like the dynasty space, people are just like, oh, I would take Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes. Like
Well, that's just because everyone talks the sweet talk. You know what I mean?
there needs to be
Yeah.
but it shouldn't even have to be that talk. It should be Patrick Mahomes is QB1 and let's start talking about everyone else.
But that's
Now,
happened to Tom Brady, 4 times
very,
in
very,
his
very true.
17-year career. So it's like it's just the up and down
Of
of
the
people's
NFL
careers. You
season.
can't always be your 100th percentile your entire career. And just to put a cap on that trade, I think there are three, two, but maybe three assets in all of dynasty football that are worth 4 first rounders at the beginning of this season. That would have been Patrick Mahomes. That would have been Josh Allen. That would have been Jalen Hurts. Now, at the end of this season, I think there's four. And I think, unfortunately, for me in another league, I ended up trading and losing an opportunity on this guy. But I think you can add Lamar Jackson into that
That's
because
interesting.
of his contract longevity. I personally, at the beginning of the season, said Lamar Jackson is injury prone. And I know in the community that, no one wants to talk about, you can't predict injuries, yada, yada, yada. But I'm not going to spend a top 7 pick on a guy who's missed out on what, 3 of the last 5 seasons to some degree. Maybe
He has
not as much as it was last year, but to some degree, he's missed out on 3 of the last 5 seasons. So in
it's
my other
tough.
league, I ended up trading away the 107 to receive a second rounder, a second fourth rounder, and a second ninth rounder. And then that guy took Lamar Jackson, and guess what? He just beat me in the semifinals by zero point 0.7 points. So
Because of Lamar Jackson.
because I'm a scumbag, right?
And
That's it's
Lamar Jackson coming full circle here. Like Mac, the reason why Mac is in the finals was because of Lamar Jackson. Like that was his one player he had, and Lamar Jackson ended up
he did the
going
job
for
against
more
the toughest
exactly
defense in the league.
crazy. It
Literally the toughest defense in the league. Comes out in the third quarter, scores 2 touchdowns in a 3-minute period. My my
Incredible.
ego, my ego went from, oh my gosh, I have a 30-point lead at half to I'm gonna lose in the final seconds. My ego, oh,
But
Jay,
it
I wish
is
I videotaped. I wish I videotaped the second half. You guys would have had this content would have been
so
pristine.
to get back on the track here. But you mentioned four names there, and now Mac has two of them. He has
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. So it's pretty dangerous stuff. But seriously, let's look at his draft class. Um, Absolutely nuclear.
crushing it.
I like it was Mac traded for picks, and I don't even know. I don't think you can get any better than the picks that he made. Pretty
The
incredible.
only pick that didn't turn out as Shoemaker.
Yeah, but
Every other pick showed
you can't.
massive upside.
But say what when he gets a chance? What if Jake Ferguson goes away, just like Dalton Schultz?
Yeah,
Plug him in, boom. That is what the Dallas Cowboys do. So
I
someone
will
that you
say this
definitely
though,
holding on to.
Ferguson is a big boy. How big? What's the metrics on Mr. Shoemaker here? Click on him right quick.
6'5", 250. That's a big boy.
Actually, he's a little bit bigger than Ferguson.
That is a
I
big
think Ferguson is also 6'5", but I think he's like 240 something. That's
let's
pretty
look it up.
wild.
Let's look it up for the record
I
here.
thought Ferguson was a bigger boy than him. That's actually he's a big Shoemaker's a big dude.
6'5", they're basically the same. The
Is
Dallas
he
Cowboys
250 or is he 240?
is 244.
Dude, he got him by 6 pounds. Ferguson, eat a couple cheeseburgers this week, right?
That is wild. That they really
Frick.
draft the same exact people. That's what they
I will
do.
say though, Ferguson looks really good out there. I think them letting go of Schultz was the right move. At the time that they made that move, I thought they were idiots. Ferguson looks really good.
I mean, it just proves that they could really just plug in any tight end, honestly. That's just kind of what they do.
Listen,
But
I don't disagree that like you can plug in a tight end and he's gonna run a nice seam route and no one's gonna cover him because in the NFL you put your studs on the outside, it forces the safeties to divvy out to pay attention to them, and then it just happens to open up the middle of the field. I think Ferguson is more of an athlete than people give him credit for because I've seen him doing some interesting comebacks and outs. Like he's not putting anybody on skates, but I'm pretty impressed with Ferguson. I didn't really recognize him until midseason, but I think he's pretty legit. I don't know. Maybe I mean
I,
people said a lot of good things about Shoemaker too, so we shall see.
we definitely should shall see. But next thing you go is, this next one I'm going to highlight is also a trade that was made. So he drafted Jahmyr Gibbs at the 104. So I actually traded the 104 to him for Cam Akers, RIP, J.K. Dobbins, RIP, and I believe a second. I believe it was.
Just
Um,
so you know, everyone in the world makes that trade. That
yeah,
is so sad.
I guess
That's the
so.
saddest thing of all time.
But Jahmyr Gibbs has also just been absolutely electric. I think he's kind of proven. So I wasn't a big Jahmyr Gibbs person, acting like I am an analyst. We love to do that sometimes. And I don't know, I just didn't I feel like he should have produced a lot more in Alabama. And he's kind of making me eat my words here. So yeah, so I got a 24 second. So this upcoming draft. And I also gave away DeAndre Hopkins, who I'm just happy to have him off my roster at this point, to be honest.
I
So
just that's so mind blowing that both of those running backs re-injured
are
their
dead.
devastating injuries.
Yeah, dead. But
That's like the worst draw you
yeah,
could
it's
ever.
it's tough. It's tough for sure. But having Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, like two also cornerstone running backs. We just talked about him having two cornerstone QBs. Insane. We go into Jalen Reed. I was a big Jaden Reed and Marvin Mims Jr. guy. Jaden Reed hitting, Marvin Mims Jr. not really doing too much. Jalen Hyatt, I think Jalen Hyatt also has some sneaky potential
He's going to be a really good number two
on the
one day.
on the Giants. So yeah, really look out from a possible flex position kind of in the future. Dalton Kincaid, since Dawson Knox came back, his usage has gone down, but Dawson Knox is not going to be there forever. I really do see Dalton Kincaid putting up his numbers when Dawson Knox wasn't there and kind of being that piece for the Bills. They've definitely just been super run heavy the past couple of games. So Dalton Kincaid's kind of been knocked down a little
They're
bit.
gonna
He's
as
still
Stephon Diggs ages, they're going to build that offense around Kincaid.
for sure.
He will be the veteran in the room.
I think they have to.
Yeah, he will, like, 2 years down the road, he'll be the veteran in the room, and they will be doing slot receivers and sideline streakers around Dalton Kincaid running the entire field.
For sure.
I really believe that.
Devon Achan at 2-1. He's also a beast, but also, very injury prone. He's been
He's just the
injured.
smallest human being ever
He
made.
is a small human being, but he is electric. But I don't know. He's got to put on some weight, and he's got to really figure out to do, even he's got to get some help from you. He has to do some exercises and training to not get hurt all the time. For real. Like he is just
What he really needs to do,
dangerous.
though, is that,
Dangerous.
in my opinion, the Dolphins really need to utilize him for what he is. In my opinion, the best thing the Dolphins could do is take off the field their third receiver. They should run 11 personnel where Achane is either in the slot or in the backfield. You have Waddle and Hill on the outside, and then you have a no name, or maybe they draft a tight end that does a little bit better. Their best offense is when Achane and a bruiser like Mostert are on the field. So they either invest in another bruiser, or they say, all right, Mostert's got another year in the tank, and they should have Achane and Mostert on the field at the same time. I think that would be their best move.
There it is. HN also getting the start today because I know we talked about in our last video here podcast with Raheem Mostert not likely to suit up today. Big
Yeah.
matchup against the Baltimore Ravens today,
Yeah.
so he's gonna kind of show his stuff. This is the
It's an
game.
AFC deal. It was a big
Yes.
deal.
This is the game of the 1 o'clock game. So he's going to be put on the spotlight. It's going to be interesting to see if they give him most of the workload. Are they going to be putting in Jeff Wilson Jr. a little bit? So I don't know. It's Devon HN has to show his worth here today.
Yeah, I think he's going to definitely increase his touch. I think Wilson's
I
going
would
to
assume
definitely
so.
increase his touch load, but I think HN is a 12 to 15 touch guy. Like combined rushing and receiving, you can't give him 20 total touches. I just think you're setting yourself up for injury.
Yeah, I think 20 is too much for him as well. I like the
Yeah.
15 range, the 15, 12 ranges, but that's really all he needs because
Yeah.
as you can see what he's already done already. Look at this.
You scheme him.
53, 27, 22,
Yeah,
25.
it's crazy.
Insane.
It's crazy. He is a gadget player, like, to the nth degree. Who was the guy from the Eagles? Sproles? Do you remember Darren
Yep, Darren
Sproles?
Sproles.
He is Darren Sproles. Okay, so you scheme up about 5 specific plays for him a game, the same way you scheme up 5 to 7 specific plays for Tyreek Hill, and then you just let him play for the rest. And if the
Let him
ball
go.
goes his way, it goes his way.
Let
But
him go.
he is so lightning fast, like Tyreek Hill, like Jalen Waddle, that Waddle needs about 3 to 5 specifically drawn up plays. Hill needs about 5 to 7 specifically drawn up plays, and then HA needs about 4 to 5 specifically drawn up plays. If you put that in your game plan, and then the rest of it is Raheem Mostert dump offs and runs, and or a full game plan play, and then you let uh, Tua find the open man. There's not an easier offense to scheme up because of all the lightning fast weapons that they have in Miami.
The Dolphins are a scary team. Definitely a really good team for a Super Bowl pick, to be honest. So
Yeah.
we shall see. We just talked about Luke Schoonmaker, so we're gonna skip that. And then Tank Dell. Tank Dell's drafted at the 5-1. He was absolutely electric, but also has this, he's a tiny human problem. 5'10", 165.
Tiny human
So
problem.
but his connection with CJ Stroud is absolutely incredible. We hope he comes back fully. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be perfectly fine coming back for next season, but a really
Yeah,
great
he's great.
5-1. So
I'll tell you this. Can I
Mac picked a
just
good season. Go, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. From a human perspective, Achan really going to be hard to put weight on. Just hard. He's just not. He doesn't have the frame for it. At 5'10", you could be 170, 175, 180, 185 pounds and still be as fast as he is. If he puts the weight on in his legs, like, he can put on 10 pounds by next season easily. He really, really could.
He needs to.
Being 5'10", he has the size to be that heavy. But again, it can't be in the shoulders and the gut. It has to be in the hips and the legs, or he will lose speed. But I didn't realize that. I just seeing those numbers, I'm just a freak with that stuff. I
Yeah.
had to put it in there.
But Mac picked a good season to be bad and have draft picks. Like this is a really good foreshadowing for you, honestly. This could
Me?
potentially be you for next year. You have so many picks next year. Like if you can hit on all your picks like this, then you're gonna automatically jump into contention.
I will
Um,
say this.
you're a good team. You
Yeah.
won the losers bracket, so you already have that strength. So
Yeah. I'll give him more credit than I'm gonna give myself because to hit a 301, to hit a 201, to hit a 204, the 302 is a good pick. The 401 is a good pick. To hit a 501, I
he like
I
hit
have 5 first round picks.
it's yeah, you have
Like if I don't hit, then they're a bust. It's not that I didn't hit, it's that they're a bust.
for
Like
sure.
he made some really good picks. Like
It's
really good. The
in
only pick I've
incredible.
ever made that's close to this was my 5th round Sam Howell pick. That's the only
I
pick I've made as close to these picks.
This is going to be a draft that we are going to probably be comparing for the rest of our league history here. Like this,
23 and 24 are going to be too big, maybe even 25, but those draft just not just in our league, but just in the NFL, they're going to be the future of the league for a while.
I mean, we shall see, but great draft. Seriously, Mac and Corey, like fantastic job. You really can't get any better than this. And
It's a great draft.
it's going to be a team. This team's going to be feared for times to come. Now we go on the other side of things, Bash Bros. Things are not as pretty here. Three draft picks. He was definitely very much in the Rams mindset where he was like, I don't want the picks, give me players. But I would say I think they kind of sheared their gifts for this season. They didn't really trade away any of their picks, which we're going to kind of get into with the breakdown and all that. But only 3 picks, only one name to really highlight is going to be Chase Brown. He's been getting some more usage the past couple weeks. I know you mentioned Stenson Bennett in our last video. It's always good to kind of have these dart throws for quarterbacks. That's something that you always want to do. Because quarterbacks are important and
Yeah.
quarterbacks are, they bring you the points and they give you opportunity. So Dwayne McBride is still on the Vikings practice squad. So not really much to highlight there. So, different ends of the spectrum here with Mac with an absolute killer of a draft and Bash Bros. These players are not starting on his team. And I doubt he's starting Chase Brown today. So yeah, just interesting. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, when you find yourself in you've traded away, you don't have a lot of picks. I mean, these are good names in each of these rounds. I mean, obviously, as a totality, yes, he does not compare to Corey and Mac, but Chase Brown, in my opinion, will be the successor of the Bengals running back game, hopefully sooner rather than later. Stenson Bennett will have been with the Rams for 2 to 3 years before Stafford leaves, so he will be the next guy in line. Hopefully they don't draft anybody. Hopefully he shows them some good backup ability, in the next 2 years. I mean, I don't want to crush Bash Bros because you can only do so much when you've every now and then you got to go all in. Every now and then you got to trade to win for this year, and that's what he's done. So for his third, fourth, and 5th round picks, I don't hate the names.
Yeah,
And
for
McBride
sure.
was a very fast running back. He had a very good 40 time in the combine. So there's a world where next year he's in the 1-2 role because Madison sucks. Like I always said, he sucked. And who's in there now? I like him. Chandler.
Yeah, Ty Chandler.
I like Chandler. I like
The thing
Chandler a
with
lot.
Dwayne
He's also
McBride is that
fast.
he's not a reception running back. He is really just a
Yeah.
pure runner, where Ty Chandler is a little bit of both. So,
Yeah.
Ty Chandler, Dwayne McBride right now. So it should be interesting.
I think that they're a good if it wouldn't be good for your draft pick, obviously, because it would be a dual backfield. But I think the Vikings could put a lot of their money into Jefferson, bringing back Kirk Cousins and Addison, and they could probably roll with those two guys for a while. Like I
for
think they're
sure.
both good running backs,
And yeah,
Chandler and McBride. I really do.
Ty Chandler's
But that's
definitely
just an NFL perspective.
Ty Chandler's definitely proven that they should give him some workload next season. So
Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
You made a really great segue, honestly, into like sometimes you got to go all in for it. And Bash Bros, they made a trade to go a little bit all in, a little bit here, in October 26th. So they traded for Austin Eckler. We've touched on this already. I'm just going to touch on it again since we're doing this, but traded at 25 first. So kept their 24 first, which was important to them. Gave away 25 first and a third for Austin Eckler. Obviously, things have not gone as planned for that, unfortunately. So, hey,
I mean, he
maybe
helped them
Austin
at
Eckler.
some point for a little bit, but then it's been
It's
scary.
gonna it's gonna have to happen today. Austin
Yeah.
Eckler's got to have it today for this trade to really get its value.
They
What is
fired that goober, right? He's finally not
yeah,
the head
yeah, he's
coach of the
gone. He's
Chargers.
gone. Yep, yes, sir. He is off that
How
team.
has Eckler been since the head coach got fired? Is it the
Well,
same?
it's only been 1 week, and last week he got 15 for 65. So
At least he had double digits. I
one of
mean,
his
right?
best
Like,
one of his best weeks since.
yeah, the Chargers, I feel so bad for them. There's so much talent on both sides of the ball, and they have just been a boiling pot of stew. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wish nothing but good things for the Chargers. They're a great group of athletes that have just been miscoached.
yeah, for sure.
It's just what it is.
Another trade that he made after the draft, he got Jimmy G, who's been benched since then, and he got 25 third, and he gave away OBJ in a second. So I definitely think he loses this trade. Honestly, it's not really too close. I don't, it's going to be interesting to see what Jimmy G does next season to see where he's at, because he's definitely not going to be on the Raiders. So
Yeah.
you gave away that second, that kind of hurts. And OBJ, who's, OBJ has been a borderline flex type of player. I think he's
If he's
definitely
in your flex, I
the
think
top
he's
36.
helped.
Oh my God, it's 59. I thought you'd be higher
Yeah.
than that, but you know, just a little minor trade there, something to kind of see. Mac, he only made one more significant trade through
I'll
this.
tell you though, that's a good roll of the dice for someone who's trying to go all in. You don't pay a lot. You get someone with possible high upside. Like if you're all in and you're an old team and you're just trying to get depth for the league, like that's a
Yeah.
good trade.
Yes, because so his quarterbacks are obviously Josh Allen, that's automatic, but then his other ones are Baker Mayfield. Obviously, not many two people were high on Baker Mayfield. Now he's going to be his auto Q for a QB2 for today, 100%.
Yeah.
He has Mac Jones, and he traded for Jimmy G. So those three were kind of competing for that QB2 spot, and Baker Mayfield essentially won it out. But moving forward to Mac here, we talked about Patrick Mahomes. We talked about the Jahmyr Gibbs trade. I traded for Logan Thomas for a 25 third, more draft picks for Mac. That's really insignificant. This one's pretty crazy. I feel like this one slipped by me when this happened. So I saw this earlier today. I was like, I don't really remember this happening, but he traded for Terry McLaurin. He got a second, 24 second, and he traded away a 24 first and a 24 fourth. So kind of just like looking at this right now, I mean, the first has so much value, and especially it's your first as well.
I
So
got it.
it's kind of a
Jason.
mid first.
Jason, I got it back.
Oh, did you get it? Oh, got it back. There you go. Well, that's how things happen. Oh, for the T. Higgins and Justin Herbert trade. At the time, I feel like it was too much, but this is Mac, he was going all in, and he definitely needs some help at like the receiver corp. So
Yeah.
um I definitely do lean the
I
Sam
cannot believe Terry McLaurin's season. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't.
With Sam Howell's numbers. Yeah, it doesn't actually make any sense at
Yeah,
all.
Sam Howell's playing very well, and it doesn't make sense that Terry McLaurin is not benefiting from that. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe there's some in-house fighting because of his frustration for the last couple of years, but Terry McLaurin, he's going to be one of those athletes who are way better than what his career numbers have shown.
He's
It
still
stinks. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, and I'm admitting that. I like Terry McLaurin a lot.
Terry McLaurin has always had the problem of like taking that next step. He's kind of has this
I
like
think
this.
it's a quarterback problem,
Yeah,
though. I don't think it's his
I was
problem.
gonna say it's a DJ Moore problem, but I think he's a little bit worse than DJ
How
Moore.
old is McLaurin? Is he 27?
He's 28.
Oh, geez. If
Whoops.
he doesn't get like that DJ Moore trade next year, I mean, he's going to be too old at that point.
He's not even starring Terry McLaurin, which is a huge bust for someone that you're trading for. But yeah, he is 28.
Yeah, Terry was hoping for that big franchise trade last year and it just didn't hit for him.
And this is the problem right here, 27, 21, 25, 14, 32. Like, you want him to
Dang.
be inside this top 20. And he's only hit that once in his career. So
Yeah, that's tough, dude.
also Terry
That is
McLaurin
tough.
being traded a lot in this league. Look at him. 3 times already. So people don't want Terry. So, but yeah, I mean,
Ah,
that's
freaking
kind
love
of
Terry.
that's kind of a
Such so
breakdown
unfortunate.
of all the transaction and stuff to get them here. So let's like really break down what this matchup's looking like. So yesterday we had a good start. Detroit Lions versus Dallas Cowboys. Mac had two people going. Jameer Gibbs, not the best day. He did not get that touchdown. It went to Monty for the rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
And
it's
I know we
tough.
talked about this as well with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown really got saved by that last minute touchdown from the
Yeah,
Lions. So this could have been a
yeah,
completely different scenario. I'm sure Mac is pretty much thrilled about that as well.
yeah.
Amon-Ra got this touchdown. This could have easily been what he would have had 14, 13 points instead of 22. So also would have gave Bash Bros a little bit of advantage. But this is super tight. We have 51 percentage with Mac and 49% with Bash Bros. So very, very interesting stuff here.
It's gonna come down to who flinches first.
So let's dig into this matchup a little bit. Obviously, QBs Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes versus Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. Going to be an interesting one. Josh Allen, divisional game against New England. Those are always a little bit sketch, but the Pats actually beat Josh Allen in like week 2, week 3. So I do expect the Bills to come out firing here. And the spread is 14 points. And I do think the Bills have a really high opportunity to cover that. But the Bills have just not been a complete big dominant team. They've definitely been getting their wins, but it hasn't been in dominant fashion, except against the Cowboys, except that 1 week. Um, but yeah, Josh Allen, always a good quarterback to have. I believe he is QB1 or QB2 this season. QB1. So best quarterback in the league to have right now.
Yeah, he got after it this year.
You go to Baker Mayfield, so Baker Mayfield up against Patrick Mahomes, and kind of crazy.
That
Baker
might
Mayfield
that
has
might be a
been
wash.
Baker Mayfield has been outproducing Patrick Mahomes for the past couple of weeks. So
That is definitely a possibility of a wash. Like,
it
and that
is.
is a huge divisional game. Like that
Mm-hmm.
means so much. Like a win there means so much. So Baker's gonna be he's trying to resurrect his career. If they win this
Sure.
game, they're pretty much in the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is the game they need to win.
Yeah.
If they don't, then the Saints are still alive into it. So
Well, they're ahead from what I remember. They're ahead by one game over the Saints
they
and
are
one other team. I forget. Is it the Atlanta
Falcons.
Falcons?
Falcons.
So if they don't win this game, that gives two other teams a chance to leap them in the next coming weeks. So this is a huge game for Tampa Bay.
Yes, sir. This is a little bit of a trap though.
Yeah,
Baker is what have they won in like 3 in a row. Once again, a divisional game, kind of sketchy. Things kind of always go a little bit weary for divisional games. Saints, a decent defense, so it should be interesting.
they
It's
might be, just so you know, they might be on a 5 game win streak.
yeah, dub, dub, dub. Yeah,
I
you might
think they
not be
beat
wrong.
Indianapolis. I don't remember.
So they're streaking for sure. So
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see if we get a 12-point game from Baker or are we going to get that 20-point game? And that's going to really be a big deciding factor here for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
No doubt.
going to the running back battle here. Jamar Gibbs versus Bijan Robinson. Jamar Gibbs and Bijan Robinson versus James Cook and Austin Eckler. What are
If
your
Gibbs
thoughts?
didn't put up that 5 pointer, I would say that Gibbs and Robinson have the edge. But Gibbs puts up a 5 pointer, and it's like Cook can match and outpace Robinson, and Eckler can also get 5 points. So it's like it's a
We're on
pretty
the
even
same
matchup,
wavelength
to
right
be
there.
honest.
Yep. Yes, sir. I'm literally feel the same exact way. I really don't think Eckler is going to score 5 points. I think he is going to
Double
have a
digit, yeah,
decent game, honestly.
yeah. I could
I
see him
really,
scoring 10 to 12.
yeah. The advantage I give right now is to Bash Bros with the James Cook and Austin Eckler kind of package here.
Yeah,
Bijan Robinson, maybe he can go a little bit crazy. He is definitely a good PPR running back to have. Like he has a good floor essentially. Like I know 2 weeks ago he scored like point 0.4. Like that's not going to happen again ever in his entire
yeah.
career. So You're
Can we
good.
sidetrack for a hot second?
Yeah, what's up?
Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I just saw Eckler and then I saw Denver below Eckler and I'm like, oh my gosh.
that's some pretty big news of the week, honestly. Super weird what's
Dude,
going
so
on
much
there.
money. Just
It
here you
doesn't
go,
really
Russ.
it doesn't really make any sense at all. I didn't really get the full extent of it. They
I think
want
Sean Payton literally said, I'm gonna take this job if you let me do exactly what I want to do. And I think
that's
Sean
what he
Payton is
wants to
fed
do.
up with Russell Wilson. I think that's it. I don't think it's ownership at all. I don't think it's general management. I think he said, if I take this job for all of this money and I end up not liking Russell Wilson, I have full reins to drop him. And they were like,
But the
sure.
weird thing is that this happened with so it happened right after they won against the Chiefs. That's a big team win right there. And then it's like we
Well,
need
they
you to
didn't
take off
just win
your
against the Chiefs. They
they
won against the
did.
Chiefs like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, but
If
that's when all this drama started. They wanted him to like remove an injury clause and he said no or something. And
well,
then
I'll
but
tell
that
you
happened
this.
right after they beat the Chiefs.
I don't know if you've ever watched a Denver game. Have you?
Like with the brought
Like
with
all like
Russell
live.
Wilson.
Like have you watched an entire Denver game?
Probably no, I don't know. I didn't watch the Pats
All right.
versus
So
Broncos on Christmas.
my
Only
in-laws,
red zone.
yeah, my in-laws are Denver fans. So every now and then I'll catch like a full Denver game because my wife wants to watch it as well as my in-laws just because I'm hanging out with them. Every single game that I've seen, Sean Payton is veins in his neck hollering at Russell Wilson for making some dumb mistake, like some bad check, or like you don't know exactly what happened because like it's not that obvious that
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can see it on TV. But he's walking off the sideline with his head down because Sean Payton has his clipboard and like all in his face.
So
It's
he hates Russell
I
Wilson.
think I think repeatedly one of two things. Sean, no, Russell doesn't know Sean Payton's offensive plan and Sean Payton's done with it, like done with the incompetency, or Russell Wilson is making checks that he used to make with the Seattle Seahawks, and Sean Payton said that doesn't happen here anymore. You run my offense. One of those two things are happening. Either Russell doesn't know Sean's offense and he's like, I'm done. I'm done with this guy who's incompetent, or it's Russell's making his own checks that he would normally do in certain situations, and Sean's like, that's not part of my game plan.
There,
I'm
there's the analysis right there. So
I if you go back and you take the time, you probably won't. Sean Payton hates Russell Wilson. He
it's
hates him.
it's definitely going to be well. Russell Wilson also a good fantasy producer. By the
Yeah, I
number,
mean, listen, I can't say that
it's
the guy
gonna be
can't.
it's gonna be interesting to see where he lands.
Yeah, he can perform, but like the ready, it's the old chicken or the egg. Was it Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick? Ready? Was it Russell Wilson or was it old man Rivers?
Yeah, for sure.
He's what is isn't he the literally the oldest coach in the NFL?
He is so old.
But he's amazing.
I don't know if
But
he's the
he's so
oldest.
good. He's
It's
so good.
it's so interesting.
He just jumps around. He's
What
chewing his gum all
what
day.
a segue there. Really, really talking about Russell, who's on my team, who I traded for. We love that.
Sorry, I just my
All right,
I just
back to
mind blown.
the wide receivers here. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown once again got saved. Chris Olave, who sneaky. I don't know if
He's
you've
been
seen the
killing
past
it.
couple of weeks. Three
Yeah,
out of
he's
the
in
past
the
4 weeks,
playoffs. He's doing well.
100 yards. It's exactly what you want to see. So let's see if he's going to produce that again. Maybe a good touchdown candidate today, honestly, versus
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs. So I feel like me and you have been talking about Stephon Diggs literally for the past 3 weeks, and things are just not pretty. They are not pretty at all. He is not doing well. Still wide receiver 8 of the season, but it's because of this beginning of
doesn't
the
make any
season.
sense,
It's
but he is.
insane. Look at these past numbers: 7, 8, 6, 19, 6, 6. Just not pretty at all. Um,
It's crazy.
Astros,
It's actually heartbreaking for anybody who's in this position in the championship with Diggs. It's like
you
you
can't
just
sit him. You have to play him.
you
So
have to you have to play him.
you do.
You have
You
to.
literally need to. So
Gosh,
it's tough.
I take the Almond Brown Olave side. And the reason why is because Diggs is not who Diggs has been, and Cup has to compete with Puka. These other two guys are their number ones, and St. Brown already showed it.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with you. I think kind of like moving down though, you see DJ Moore and Mike Evans, like that's awesome. Like
Yeah,
there's some really good potential for Bash Bros to obviously win this. Like he's not completely outritten at all, but
yeah.
Moore incoming for a big game. Atlanta secondary is honestly pretty electric though,
Let's
so it's going to be a little
yeah,
different
let's give these guys some awesome credit. Like they have immensely powerful flex positions.
for sure. I mean,
Like both of these flex positions, and obviously Demarcus Robinson's come on at the last minute, but like both of these flex positions can literally be in starting lineups.
yeah. So picking Demarcus Robinson over Gabe Davis, it looks like. Man,
I would do that in a heartbeat.
it really seems like that's the only contender here.
Yeah, I would. That's a
Oh,
no-brainer.
Josh Jacobs, that's why he's dead.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is down. Yeah. I honestly, there's a world where I pick Robinson over Josh Jacobs
Hey, I mean,
because
let's look at
because
the numbers
Jacobs is
here.
coming off of an injury. So like you don't even know if he's going to get the workload.
Yeah,
Robinson has been the wide receiver 3 in
15,
if you look
13,
at the
14.
Rams entire season. You look at the Rams entire season, the wide receiver 3 produces. The question is who's going to be the wide receiver 3 that week? Because Tutu was doing it at one point. Demarcus
Mm-hmm.
Robinson's doing it now, and I cannot remember the guy's name, but there was a guy who did like 1 or 2 games while Tutu was out. He also had double-digit points.
Ben Skoronski?
Maybe. I really it was a name that is never going like it's lost to me. It's like if you went to maybe the
But
depth chart,
you do
but it
see
doesn't
Demarcus
matter.
Robinson putting up those points. Like that's if he can put this floor of the 15, 13, 14, 20, like
Yeah,
that's easy money. Easy money
absolutely.
against the
And like you
Giants.
look at the other side and you know that Williams is going to produce.
Oh,
In
for
my opinion, Pittman's coming back from an injury, which is scary,
it
but
is that is scary. I
just
will agree
people
with
coming back from injury is so scary because you just never know, are they going to be them? Are they really fully recovered? But Pittman,
But
if
Pittman
he
has
is
been
in and he's
electric.
fully recovered, he's going to do just fine.
Yep.
He's going to really kill it.
Number 11 of the season, a literal legit wide receiver one. It been
Another
he
one of the guys I just love. I think Michael Pittman is the next Mike Evans. He's just this guy who's like low key, just a
wow.
consistent
What
player,
a statement.
happy attitude, team player. Like I love the guy. I really love him. I
What a
really do.
statement. And look who he's matched up against, Mike Evans.
Yep.
So
That's his mentor right there.
what is your side right here? Which flex side are you picking?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. I would have said DJ Moore,
We talked
Evans, and
about Devon
Robinson.
Achan a little bit in the like the rookie draft thing. So he's getting to
Yeah.
start today against the
Well, that's the
Baltimore.
thing. It's like if Raheem Mostert was playing, then I'm taking Bash Bros hands down. But because A Chain is the starter, and we've seen what happens when A Chain is the starter, A Chain can score 25 points today. I mean,
This is tough. I would say
DJ
the
Moore can score 25 points, but
yeah. I would
it's
say
crazy.
the best player out of the six that I would want is probably Kyron Williams. Just once again, the motto of consistency from there.
Is he a
But like
touchdown
us,
dude or is he a volume dude?
he is both, dude. It's insane.
Scores touchdowns?
He scores touchdowns and he gets volume.
What do you think about a three-legged parlay? Kyron Williams, Mike Evans, Chris Olave, touchdown
Wow.
scorer.
Just from this, do it up. I'm rooting for you.
Like I was gonna do just Olave and Evans, but now I'm like, let's get
Why-
greedy. Let's go for
Kyron
three.
Williams scores literally every single week. So
It's crazy.
he's pretty much CMC essentially.
Nuts.
But literally the close second I would do is Mike Evans, but Mike Evans needs to show up. DJ Moore needs to show up. It's really going to come down to those matchups. I feel like I lean Mac more for the floor. Like I think these people are gonna be putting up the numbers, but if DJ Moore, Mike Evans go crazy, like this could easily be an intense matchup. This is Max week to lose for sure. Like
Yeah.
he's got the players, but we didn't talk
But
about
between
Dalton
yeah.
Kincaid versus Kelsey. Dalton Kincaid's been not the best, so that's kind of a dud right here, to be honest.
I'll tell you this though.
7-4-1.
Dalton Kincaid's going against Allen, right? That's the deal.
Mm,
So I'll tell you this, Bash Bros could get a big point swing if they just keep their fingers crossed that Kincaid doesn't score a touchdown.
yeah.
Because yeah, he'll still get points, but it's much better to get 6 points from a touchdown without giving 6 points for a touchdown.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean he's the play, so you gotta hope he
Oh
bounces.
yeah, I mean yeah, there's no way around it. He's
Yeah.
probably their best tight end, so you have to do what you have to do. But
The other
but it
choice
could
here would be
kill it could kill
Aaron
Bash
Wallace.
Bros. It could kill Bash Bros if Kincaid gets like a 2 touchdown performance.
Yeah, that kind of cancels it out right there, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
and Bash Bros has all of the bills. Like James
Yeah.
Cook, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. He has Gabe Davis on the
Yeah.
bench. So
Like
this is
that,
going to be
I'll say
spicy.
this, like it wasn't a bad bet before the year to be like all in on the Bills, but the best bet this year was to be all in on the 49ers. That was the best bet this year.
I think the best bet was to be on the Rams. The Rams are insane. The
Isn't
Rams,
it crazy though that each year there's like one or two teams where like you could have done that? Like
kind of,
back in the day, you could have picked all the Patriots players in like 1 year league. Like recently, if it was like the 49ers or like the Chiefs or like Miami, like if you just picked the players on those teams, you're
yeah.
probably gonna win. Like that's crazy. Like I just that's I mean,
So
I
it's a
guess it
test.
makes sense, but it's
People can
also
do
like
it.
in this game of
All
dynasty,
about
it's kind of
high-powered
wild.
offenses. Essentially, it's
Yeah.
all the offenses. This is kind of crazy. Ash Bros is outscoring Mac and Corey by less than a point for the season. So kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Just looking at the records, 10-4, 6-8. Um, interesting. All right, who's your pick? Let's hear it.
Oh man, it's tight. I think it's Corey and Mac.
I also think it's Corey and Mac. I love an
It's
underdog
super tight.
story, and I hope it's Bash Bros just because I really do think their time is coming to an end, and I think Mac's time is just starting, and it's crazy he's already here. So, I think I want Bash Bros to win for the underdog story, but once again, I think
For
it's
the
Mac.
league.
Yes, for the league, we want the Bash Bros, so they got to do it, but. I really do think it's Mac and Corey's week to lose. So
We made it here into the third fantasy playoff or finals, and we don't have Steele. We don't have Lexus. Yay.
yeah, he almost made it though. He almost made it.
He did. That's freaking
It's
crazy. But he
crazy.
didn't.
I don't get how he always does it. Honestly, it really does not make any sense to me. But hey, his team does whatever needs to get done. But yeah, that's that's
Fellas,
that's that's all we
good
got.
luck.
It's
It's
been
a
it's
good
been a
matchup.
season.
It's a really good
It
matchup. You
is.
always like it when it's a tight matchup. Jay knows because we do the podcast for my league as well. The other league is not as tight of a
It
matchup as
is
this.
not.
This is cool. This is exciting though. This is what it's all about. You'd
It's
rather
gonna be
have
yes.
a tight, fun win than a blowout, but money is money, baby.
Yes, sir. It's going to be cool. It's going to be a good one to track for sure. But all right, well, that's pretty much it for the season, boys. I'm sure we're going to be doing some other things. I know I did some write-ups. I'm probably going to be doing videos from now on with Brownie. And talking about some pre-draft process, some power rankings, seeing where teams are kind of stacking up and stuff like that. So things to come for the
Yeah.
future. But until then,
Yeah, buddy.
enjoy your Sunday and your championship Sunday and yeah, win some championships out here.
Get it.
All right, peace.